Welcome to LifePoint, a ministry focused on helping you find real life. Author and teacher of the gospel for over 30 years, Pastor Dell offers hope by guiding you step by step to the abundant life that God has for you. Let's join Pastor Dell now for LifePoint.
Welcome to LifePoint, your path to real life. I'm Pastor Dell Phillips. I'm your LifePoint host, and I just want to say thank you for taking time out to join us on our broadcast for today. We're excited that you're taking time to share the LifePoint message with us today, and encourage you to share that same point with someone else in your family or friends nearby. We're going to begin our broadcast with reading from our LifePoint journal, so let's pay attention to what we see here on the screen. Temptation is the second call. God's call is always the first. Wow. Here's one more life nugget that's in our LifePoint journal to remind us that temptation, when it comes, the temptation to move away or to steer away from the current path, that's always the second call, not the first. God's call, what he has truly, essentially called us to do, is always the first call. So in this program today, one of our chief objectives is to encourage you to always embrace the first call. We're going to go for a break, and we'll be right back to begin with our scriptures for today's program.
Many of us have spent years roaming down curious paths looking for our destiny. In our quest to satisfy our desire for happiness and our need for fulfillment, we have meandered down many different paths that it seems in times that we have lost our way. Now we are not sure of what we want. We don't quite know what would make us happy or content. We need help. We need directions. We need someone to point us to the single distinct path that leads to real life. This interactive DVD and workbook is designed to help you find the path that leads to real life. Order now so you can begin a new path and start getting the most out of life today. Workbook and interactive DVD are available online now for a ministry donation of $15 or more at www.lifepoint4.me, or write to us at LifePoint Ministries, P.O. Box 201334, Denver, Colorado 80220.
All right, I want to encourage you to go to the website so that you can place your order for your LifePoint workbook and DVD. As you hear me say, we've upgraded that package, so now it's completely digitized. So you're going to get three DVD or three videos on that DVD CD, as well as the workbook that has been digitized. So you'll be able to follow along with the notes from the workbook, which oftentimes go a little bit more deeper than what we're able to share here on the actual program. You'll be able to follow along with that while you watch and listen to the video. So it's a real neat package. $15 is all we're asking for your donation to the ministry. So check us out, www.lifepoint4.me. That's LifePoint, the number 4.me, and you can place your order today. Also want you to check us out on Facebook. This is an opportunity for you to join with our internet LifePoint family. We've been getting great response as those who share LifePoint from all across the country right now. So we have our audience here in our New Mexico base, but now we're spreading out all across the country through the internet, rebroadcasting the messages that you've heard here. But you also have a chance to be able to see and share the responses of those who are joining with us from the Facebook. And right now we are offering a very special new mobile app. So for all the cell phone listeners out there, this is an app that you can download directly to your cell phone and will allow you to send life. That's the mobile app that we've created. Send life. Send a message of life to a friend or family member directly from your mobile phone from LifePoint Ministries, something that comes specifically from Pastor Dell's journal readings and life notes and messages that we want to share with you that you can share with other friends and family members. So I encourage you to check us out on Facebook. You can do that through our website. Click on the Facebook icon so that you can take advantage of that download for your mobile app. All right, we are continuing our study from the book of Proverbs, Life in Proverbs. And so we're going to catch up on our scripture reading here in Proverbs chapter 1. Proverbs chapter 1, we're going to start with verse 8. Proverbs chapter 1, verse 8. My son, hear the instruction of thy father, and forsake not the law of thy mother. Verse 9, for they shall, I want you to pay attention to this, for they shall be an ornament of grace unto thy head, and chains about thy neck. So here's where we are. We ended with understanding in verse 7, as we dealt with in the last program, that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. That's where we left off. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, and fools despise, watch this, wisdom and instruction. So we talked about the distinction between the four characters that Proverbs shows us here. The first three was the simple man, the young man, the wise man. We saw that wisdom gives substance to the simple man. Wisdom gives knowledge and discernment to the young man. To the wise, wisdom will increase their learning and give them a broader audience of wise counsel. But to the fool, the scripture says, the fool despises wisdom and instruction. The fool represents the person that is a step beneath the fool, because the step beneath the simple, because the fool believes that they don't need anything else. They have arrived, they have achieved, they're finished, they're done. They're not striving to become anything more than what they believe they are. They despise wisdom and instruction. Verse 8 and verse 9 are key verses here, because Solomon wants to make sure his children or his sons, his children or his followers do not misstep like the fool. You have to see this in its proper context. Solomon is passing on a kingdom to his successors, to his children, to his family. He's passing on great wealth. He's passing on great power. He's passing on great fame and reputation. His children, his sons, in the natural, they are not going to want for anything. But yet, Solomon wants to make sure they have an appetite, a voracious appetite for what's most important. He does not want them to be like a fool who simply despises wisdom and instruction, does not recognize the value, the treasure that wisdom represents. He wants to make sure that his children don't get caught up in the gold that he leaves behind, that they don't get caught up in the titles and the reputation that Solomon leaves behind. He wants to make sure that they chase after something that's important, the most important element that God has made available to his creation, wisdom. So here's how he emphasizes that in verse 8 and verse 9 by saying, my son, hear the instruction of your father and your mother, and don't forsake the law. Hear the instruction of your father and don't forsake the law of your mother, making sure that they don't depart from the instruction that they have grown up in, or the laws that their parents have established for them, so that they don't depart, they don't venture away from the path, stay with me here, from the path that has been established for them. Not the path of wealth and riches, but the path concerning wisdom and instruction. Don't stray away from that path. That's what Solomon is saying. This is a great illustration for parents, for you and I today that have children. You know, we're real caught up on trying to make sure that we leave behind material goods for our children, and that has its appropriate place in life. But I don't want you to think that the most important thing that you can do is to leave, a great wealthy material inheritance for your children to walk into, or big insurance policy for them that's going to take care of all of their natural needs for the rest of their life. There's something that has even greater importance than that. And that is the instruction, the discipline that you raise them in, that they would continue to hear that instruction from their father figure, that they will continue to be admonished by the law of their mother figure, that the instruction and the laws of the parents will remain in place, intact, even in the physical, visible absence of the parent. This is important because there's going to be the temptation to stray away. That's what we're going to see here in a moment. Look at the next verse. Again, I want you to see the importance. How Solomon says, here's what I want to do. I want to make sure that you don't depart from it. So he says in the following verse that I want it to become an ornament. An ornament. It should become an ornament of grace on thy head and a chains around your neck. Something, this is using a physical metaphor, a physical illustration to give emphasis on how important wisdom and instruction are to his children. That they should become like a head garment, something that you would wear that would be displayed. You see, the head garment upon the descendant of the king, it represented their connection to the kingdom. And then the chain around their neck, it also connected them to their heritage. He's saying to them, Solomon is saying to his children, to his sons, to his children, and to all of his successors, those who will abide by these proverbial words of wisdom. He's saying to them, you should wear them like a head ornament, so it will connect you to me, like chains around your neck that will identify you with my heritage. It should connect you to my wisdom. It should connect you to my instructions. They should see you and know that you are a descendant of Solomon, not because of your wealth, not because of your authority, not because of your reputation, but because of your wisdom. The instructions that you walk and live in. We began this series expressing to you how significant wisdom was in the life of Solomon, that he had an audience sitting before God, God asking him, giving him instructions, telling him, whatever you ask me, I will give you. And Solomon asked for wisdom. It was his chief possession. And now he wants to make sure his descendants embrace it. Now here we come to the challenge. Our theme today, in our journal reading, it says, temptation is the second call. God's call is always the first. We wrestle with the temptation against life. We have the privilege, the opportunity to walk in life, but there's the temptation to cause us to stray away from that path. The key verse here, let's look at verse 10. Verse 10 and 11. Watch this. My son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. Verse 11. If they say, come with us, let us lay wait for blood. Let us lurk privately for the innocent without cause. Look at this last verse, verse 12. Let us swallow them up alive as the grave and whole as those that go down in the pit. I need to show this to you. You got to consider these verses are relative to the sons, the children, the descendants of Solomon. Solomon is saying to them, I need you to stay on the path that I established for you, that myself and your mother have set before you. There are going to come there are going to be those who will come to lure you away from this path. Be cautious. Be careful. They will come. They will come to entice thee. And Solomon says instantly, don't consent. Don't give in to it. They're going to come to tempt you, to lure you in, to try to entice you, to get you to believe that what you have already is not enough. That the wisdom and the instruction that has been given to you from your parents is not enough. This is what's so interesting and profound about this passage, because you got to think, what the children of Solomon, what is it that they could have need of? I just told you, in the natural realm, there's nothing that they don't possess. So how are you going to entice? How do you tempt someone who has all the gold, all the material possessions, who has all the authority, the power, the fame, the glory, if you will, has all of that? How do you entice that person? By convincing them that what they have is not enough. They have been given the wisdom of Solomon, the instructions from Solomon. But there will be those who will come to tell you that wisdom that comes from God, that's not enough. You need something more. You see, the world that we live in right now, let me talk to you and I. Yeah, we may not be the exact descendants of Solomon, as far as having the material wealth and the great access to authority and power as Solomon. But we have the rights to be the descendants of the wisdom that Solomon walked in to have life. This is the discovery in the book of Proverbs, life that wisdom embraced, life that wisdom gave birth to, life that was established as a path. If you stay on this path, the wisest thing you can do is to stay on this path that will continue to give you life. There will be those who will come to say to us, that's not enough. It's not enough to just simply trust God, to walk with God, to walk in God's plan, to walk in God's purpose. It's not enough. Instead of them believing that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, they think that you have not begun. They believe that you have not acquired because you fear God. That your relationship to God, you following in God's footsteps, walking in God's plan and purpose, that's not enough in itself. You need to come on up. You need to rise up. You need to exalt yourself. There are still things that you need to acquire and to accomplish. Where in truth, it is the reverse. I have already acquired the greatest gift possible. Wisdom that gives life. From there, I'm already on the elevator, if you will, to go up. You're asking me actually to descend to be with you. So this is what Solomon says. Don't consent. Don't give in to it. Don't listen to their words. If they say, come with us and let us lay wait for blood, let us lurk privately for the innocent without cause. Watch this. Solomon says, why would you allow others who don't have what you have to convince you to walk away from your greatest asset and possession? It's interesting that people who have not acquired the wisdom of God want you to come and hang out with them. And now let's go somewhere privately where nobody will be able to see us, and let's lay wait for the innocent people. And to take advantage of them, to steal, to take, to destroy innocent lives so that we can have gain. In the natural world we live in now, society tells us that, do whatever you have to do to get to the top. Crush whoever you have to crush to ascend. As a matter of fact, some people are actually rewarded for having that kind of mentality where they're so hardcore, they are so deliberate in their focus for success that they're willing to do whatever it takes. And they're rewarded for that kind of behavior. Whereas Solomon is saying, hey, wait a minute. First of all, to his sons, children, and successors, you already are on the right path. Why stray away from the path that will give you the greatest reward to hang out with folks who don't have what you have? You know, before somebody else can lure me away from the things of God, how are you going to lure me away when you don't have what I have? You at least need to have what I already possess. These people, they want you to leave behind your greatest treasure and to lay in wait in private to try to take advantage of innocent people, to destroy the lives of others, to steal from others in order to have what God has freely given to those of us who are willing to search him out. You see, wisdom is available if you're willing to search for it. Wisdom is the greatest treasure if you're willing to dig for it. But if you would prefer to try to take advantage of somebody else instead of truly pursuing after the greatest valuable gem in life, you're giving up something greater for something lesser. And let's look at this last verse one more time. It says, verse 12, let us swallow them up alive as the grave and whole as those that go down in the pit. I wanted you to see that one more time. Look, swallow them up how? Alive. Wow, you got to catch the revelation here. Watch this. Solomon is saying, here's what's going to happen to you if you go with them. Wait, okay, so I got to take an aside for a minute. You know how we're always talking about what they said, talking about what they did. Solomon is teaching us here, here's what happens if you follow what they said, if you do what they said, if you try to go along with them, all right, instead of staying on the path that you know leads to life. Don't listen to what they said. In the end, they will swallow you up in the grave. But here's the catch. Alive. It's one thing to inherit the grave when I die, when there's no more life in me, when the breath that God gave me has been exasperated, I fall into the grave. That is the natural resting place for the dead. But to fall into the grave or to be swallowed up by the grave and to be alive, it's the worst thing that can happen. It's for you to have life and to be swallowed up by all the things in this world around us that will cause the life that's in you to literally be overwhelmed and overtaken by things that are dead, by things that are not alive, and you lose the life that's in you. Watch this. Jesus says in the New Testament, what profited it a man to gain the whole world but to lose his soul? We began with the gift of life. It is what God has given to us. We have been given the opportunity to chase, to pursue wisdom. Why would we give up that pursuit for something less? Solomon trying to teach his sons, children, and all his successors. If you stray away from this path of instruction that I have given, that your mother has laid down the law for you to have, for you to see. If you stray away from this to go along with what they say, in the end, you'll be swallowed up, alive, in the grave, losing the life that you have been given. That's the worst. To be in the grave and to be alive. To be suffocating, but to be alive. To have the earth piled up upon you, but to be alive. To know the truth, and to know the truth that you know, but to be swallowed up in the deception of this world, and still know the truth that you're alive. I don't know if there's a greater misery to have life and to not be able to live the life that we have. I don't want you to be swallowed up, to be overtaken, to be overwhelmed by the causes and concerns of this world, straying away from what God has made available to us because you listen to what they say. They don't have life. God has given us access to real life, life that will last. Pray with me now. Father God, I'm praying for every viewer, every person who's watching this broadcast today. God, I sense and feel and know that there are many who live under the pressures of what they say. There are those who are struggling with temptation that will lure them away from life. God, I pray now that you empower each one of us to rise above and to remain exalted above the temptations that would bring us down. God, I pray that you empower us to walk in the fullness of the life that you have set before us. This we ask, pray, and believe in the name of Jesus. I'm believing, God, with you, that today you can release yourself from what they say. Don't allow them to drag you down and bring you down. God has raised you up for a reason. You need to stay encouraged to walk in the fullness of life that God has made available to you. I want you to keep chasing hard after wisdom. Wisdom is eternal. It will lead us into everlasting life. It's not here just for the moment. Wisdom is a part of the divine eternal plan of God. So I want you to keep chasing after it every single day. All right? That's the way you get up right now from wherever you're sitting, whatever condition you're in, you get up and make that decision. I'm going to start chasing after wisdom and all the fruit that will come from it. Call us at the number you see on the bottom of your screen. One of our LifePoint partners is standing by to pray with you and to encourage you. This is Pastor Del Phillips, strongly encouraging you today. Stay on the path that leads to real life.
Thank you for joining us today on LifePoint for this exciting new ministry that will help you move beyond the obstacles that prevent you from living real life. To receive a copy of today's message, we invite you to visit us on our website at lifepoint4.me. You can order your CD today for just $10 or DVD for just $15. A study guide for today's teaching is also available for a donation of any amount. And be sure to follow us on Facebook for excerpts of upcoming teachings and dynamic devotionals. LifePoint is brought to you by the prayers and generous support of viewers like you. So we invite you to partner with us by sending your tax-deductible contribution to LifePoint, P.O. Box 201-334, Denver, Colorado 80220. Until then, we'll see you next time as we continue on our journey to real life.